The book of Daniel is so extremely relevant to the end times that I need to do this book next since I've already done Revelation. I was really tempted to jump right into the last 6 chapters, but God's providence is telling me to start with Daniel 1 and go in order. Today, the day I'm writing this, Daniel 1 through 3 came up as my daily reading. After reading it, I feel it wouldn't be wise to skip the first 6 chapters. Daniel 1 is very much an introduction to who Daniel was and where he came from. Then Daniel 2 through 4 are history in Babylon when Daniel was younger. The years go by, and Daniel finally receives Daniel 7, an overview of future prophecy, and Daniel 8, world history starting from Daniel's day leading to the Messiah. Then Daniel 5 through 6 happen when Daniel is older. He then eventually receives Daniel 9, which is about the coming of the Messiah, and Daniel 10 through 12, which is one long 3-chapter vision focusing on the end times.
In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God.
Nebuchadnezzar conquered Jerusalem in 586 BC. All the valuable things were carried off to Babylon.
And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well-favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans.
Babylon didn't just kill everyone when they conquered Jerusalem. No, they kidnapped the children, but only the ones that were seemingly useful. They were effectively made slaves and forced to become Babylonian. This is very much a prophetic parallel to our lives before we got saved, if you think about it.
And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king.
Babylon was putting these kidnapped slaves through a 3-year training process to see who would become useful.
Now among these were of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego.
We'll see these guys again in a later chapter, but notice that everybody's name gets changed. That may have been for language reasons, but Babylon was also trying to erase their past by filtering out the Hebrew aspects of their lives.
But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself.
Notice that his motive was because he didn't want to defile himself. The food and drink of the king was against Daniel's religion. Refusal to follow protocol and just eat what he was given could have easily been enough reason to just kill him.
Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my head to the king.
But for some reason, this guy liked Daniel. God softened his heart enough to be reasonable with Daniel. He struck a deal with Daniel.
Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, Prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat, and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants.
For 10 days give us only water and vegetables, then compare us with the rest, and then decide what we should be eating.
So he consented to them in this matter, and proved to them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse.
Daniel was right. After 10 days of water and vegetables, they passed the test.
As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams.
Daniel's understanding in all visions and dreams will be crucial in this book, especially in the next chapter, but also Daniel 5's writing on the wall, and chapters 7 through 12, of course, are all visions.
Now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm.
After the 3-year training period, these 4 guys were the winners. There's a lot that could be said about the vegetarian diet, or at least the abstaining from unclean meat, since defilement was Daniel's primary concern. I agree the dietary laws of the Mosaic Law promote a healthier lifestyle, but I don't really think this passage is trying to teach us that we're actually supposed to be vegetarians.
And Daniel continued even unto the 1st year of King Cyrus.
Cyrus came around decades later. We're seeing Daniel as a young man here at first, but we'll see him 70 years later for the final chapters.